Do you ever listen to your old beats and you're like, oh my god, they're trash? That happened to me yesterday, but I was thinking, like, what did I do to actually improve myself to now, and how can I improve myself going forward? So when you watch this whole 5-minute video, you're gonna understand some techniques that you can use for yourself to grow as a producer. But I'm gonna give you a warning, it's not what you think.
All right, so I picked this loop right here. Alright, so the old me would have wanted to add like 3 more melodies to this, like violins, bells, something else, and that would have been a mistake. To continue growing the finesse of your beats, you're going to want to listen to other people's music, like for this one, blackbear and Post Malone, and listen to how their flows would sound on top of this. Like if they were singing on top of this, another melody would have destroyed their flow. Like it would have interfered, it would have clashed. So being a great producer isn't always about doing something more and something more complex. It's sometimes about feeling the vibe of the artist and making sure that they get the right product. Now let's go through some snares on Splice while the beat is playing so we can get some context for it. Now let's lay them out in their typical pattern. Another thing the old me wouldn't have done is adding reverb. Right now I would add reverb to this snare. So we're gonna go over to my buses, bus 1, put the reverb over there and make wet all the way. Bring up the decay a little bit. I was going through my kicks and I found this one. Sounds great. Let's put a credit on there. I just pasted those through, but I'm going to drag them to the right place. I'm bringing this hi-hat into my sampler. Another thing the past me would have done is not add movement into their hi-hats. You can add movement into your hi-hats by changing the velocity of each different one. For example, I'm going to take my velocity tool and then just change the volume of every other hi-hat so that way we get like a pulsing feeling. And then now I'm going to add some rolls. Let's go to like 16 triplet. And then I'm going to add 30-second triplet, a little bit up high, and then I'm going to take the velocity, I'm going to bring it up a bit. Another thing that people aren't doing is adding modulations to their hi-hats and drums. So right here, I'm going to go over here and pick my flanger and then put it on my hi-hats. It's like when you meet that one dude that eats a bunch of food and says there's these like profound flavors inside of it, but you eat it and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but other people start to agree with them. It's like that, but with effects. Another mistake that I used to make was not switching up my beats. So we're going to move this loop over here and then not bring the guitar. Like I literally think I just want the bass with a pad in it. So that way we don't have the guitar playing throughout the whole song. All right, so I found this stock bass on the side of my Logic presets, and then I'm going to click record and do this here. And now I'm going over to my pitch bend, so that way I can trail this bass note downwards. So that way it eases into the next chord progression. It sounds sick, watch this. So now for this part where only the bass hits, I'm going to draw in some pad notes, so that way it fills it out a little bit more. So the pad sounds kind of terrible right now, but if I put a filter on it, I bet it'll sound great. Perfect. Now I actually lowered the octave of the pad. I don't even know if my video was recording there, but what I did was I added the guitar melody over here and then just filtered it out. And then over here, I added a clap with a bunch of reverb as well as a cymbal and an 808. So those are production tricks that I wouldn't have used a few years ago when I was still new to producing, but now what you need to learn next is how to make better melodies.